Leadership is one of those skills that can be developed over time, but it's not easy. See, some leaders struggle to know where to start. Others wonder just how to take their leadership to a whole nother level. Today, I'm going to share some tips on how you can elevate your leadership. Regardless of your position, I'm confident there's going to be a nugget or two you can grab. Let's dive in. A friend of mine reached out recently to catch up, and in that conversation, he asked me a profound question. How do I elevate my leadership? And as you might imagine, what followed was a really long conversation. See, those of you who know me know I don't shy away from discussing leadership. Today, I want to share a couple key highlights from that conversation. But first, before I do, let me give you a bit more background on my friend. See, he's a C-level executive of a pretty large company. And I'm sharing that with you because people have this false belief that once you arrive at some high-level leadership position, you've already have leadership mastered. Nothing can be farther from the truth. See, what makes my friend an amazing leader is first and foremost, he's a lifelong student. At his stage of his career, he still asks the question, how do I elevate my leadership? How cool is that? See, that's the first lesson I want you to take away. Be a lifelong student. And I say that because the business landscape is constantly changing, and so are the skills needed to be effective. Regardless of your experience, you need to stay in student mode. And I want you to write this down. Leaders are teachers, and to become a great teacher, one must first become a great student. And I say that because leadership is a skill developed and refined over time. Mastery is only achieved through years of dedicated practice and experience. Before I share the other highlights from our conversation, I want to invite you to join my 12-week leadership program. We call it Self 2.0 Leadership Transformation, and we do that for a reason. See, the people we work with are already successful, and to honor their success, we metaphorically refer to their current situation as the 1.0 version of themselves. See, and those who join the program want to create the next version of themselves, the 2.0 version. If you're interested, or you want to get some of your leaders on your team in the program, follow the link in the description and submit an application. Okay, let me share some additional highlights from the conversation I had with my friend. Stay with me because the last couple are some of my favorites. See, we discussed the different ways someone can elevate their leadership. And it was an interesting conversation. And besides being a lifelong student, we spent a lot of time talking about communication and the importance of developing your communication style. See, good communication is critical, especially in leadership. We discussed the importance of speaking in plain language, right? Avoiding jargon and using really simple and easy to understand examples. See, clear communication builds trust. Unclear communication destroys it. In fact, that's the root cause of most business problems. It's a breakdown in communication. In my mind, every leader needs to constantly up their communication game. One area we drilled into was navigating difficult conversations. See, this is a topic we spent a lot of time on in our leadership program. And the reason is simple. Most leaders get really anxious when navigating a difficult conversation. How effective would your leaders be if they could navigate difficult conversations? Just think about that. We also talked about leading by example. See, the best leaders lead by example. They are a walking billboard for the habits they want their team to exhibit. Your actions as a leader need to speak for themselves. When you find yourself in a difficult situation, you must role model the way for your team. Let them see you calm and under control. We then talked about how important it is to be a good listener. See, listening starts first with being open to new ideas, being willing to hear the concerns of your team, whether they're right or wrong, and then take those ideas and concerns into consideration when you're making decisions. Leaders need to encourage their team to speak up and share their thoughts. The best leaders, the most effective ones, tap into their team's thought leadership. The only way to accomplish that is to level up your listening skills. This is important. Don't just listen to the words others say, because they might not always come out right. You got to search for the meaning behind their words. That's the key to being a good listener. As a leader, you must develop the ability to adapt and overcome. See, conditions and situations, they're going to change. That's just a fact. Your job is to adapt and overcome them. Most leaders struggle with this. They claim they're flexible, right? They talk a good game. But until something changes, and when it does, they spend most of their time bitching and complaining about how they got there in the first place. To me, it doesn't matter how you got there. Deal with it. Deal with the situation at hand. I personally can always tell the more senior leaders in a room by their ability to navigate ambiguity, their ability to adapt to changing conditions, and their ability to course correct when necessary. See, your job as a leader is to see situations for what they are and resist the temptation to judge those situations as good or bad. It is what it is. Next, be decisive. See, leadership requires strong decision-making skills. Good leaders are decisive. Most leaders want more information before making important decisions. You need to learn to make decisions with the best information available. At some point, you're gonna make a wrong decision. And when you do, just fix it. It's that simple. So we also talked about having the right to change your mind or change course based upon new information when it becomes available. We cover this topic in depth in our leadership training because it's that important. Being a strong decision maker increases confidence, not just yours, but your team's confidence in you, their leader. The last one I want to highlight is this. Be strategic. See, leaders at every level need to become more strategic. What do I mean by that? You need to anticipate challenges, plan for the future, and constantly explore ways to make your team and the service they provide better. This is a significant area that mid-level leaders struggle with. Most defer the strategic aspect of their job to their boss. In my opinion, that's a huge mistake. You as a mid-level leader need to constantly examine how to make your team better and how you serve your clients better. How can you improve on what you're already delivering? How can you make it more efficient, more productive, or just add more value? If you work for me, it's your strategic thought leadership that I'm most interested in. All C-level executives want their leaders to constantly work on improving their business. These are just like a few highlights, right? Trust me, there was probably a ton more that I could have mentioned. Here's the main takeaway I want you to get from this discussion. Elevating your leadership, regardless of the position you're in, is a continuous process that requires constant practice. Be a lifelong student. Work on refining your communication skills. Lead by example. Become a better listener. Adapt to changing conditions. Become more decisive. And work on being more strategic. If you want to develop these areas and others, follow the link in the description and apply for our Self 2.0 Leadership Development Program. Get your team to sign up. Early registration is now open. If you're a C-level executive who wants to transform your leaders into growth champions so they free up your time to do what you love, go to clevelfreedom.com. If you're not at either of those stages yet, that's cool. I would like to just buy you a copy of my book, Freedom to Experiment, How to Ignite a New Level of Energy, Focus, and Momentum in yourself and your team. Follow the link in the description, and I'll personally sign a copy for you. Okay, if you like what I shared today, do me a favor. Give it a thumbs up, comment below related to your business, and of course subscribe, because each week I'm sharing content to help you and your team embrace change, focus your efforts, and accelerate results. Remember this, you're just one idea away. Talk to you soon.